So, yeah, I was thinking something to help the kids be outside a lot versus inside, when the spring and summertime come around.
Like a swimming pool or something, or?
No. I was thinking like a tree fort or, just a playhouse or something to help with that.
Be pretty much just like a little building, maybe a little 12 by 12 or something building on top of, you could put a little deck off the back of it or something. Or you could just do a little playhouse.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is April 21st and I am not feeling the best today. So we're gonna do a voiceover because getting dressed sometimes is just a lot of work. If you guys have had any of the crud going around and have also been dealing with this ick, let me know in the comments. Today, we're going to talk about the Duggars. Well, that's what we do most days here on Without a Crystal Ball, but a recent post by Jason Duggar had me kind of scratching my head and had some of the people in his comments also asking questions because Jason had debuted his brand new digs. And in the post, it appears as though Jason Duggar has moved into the treehouse. Yes, that's right, the treehouse. If you recall, back in 2016, on an episode of Counting On, Jana had made the decision that she wanted to build something for the kids. And during the episode, she said that the project was to make it for the kids to want to go outside, get their energy outside, a place for them to go outside. She wasn't sure if she wanted to build a treehouse or a playhouse.
So I was talking with John and Joe, and we were thinking about maybe building a tree house or fort or playhouse, something really big. I was kind of thinking maybe small.
Why go small if you can go big?
Yeah. I know, but then I was like, well, they were kind of describing it.
After some thinking, she met up with brothers John, David, and Joseph, who concocted the big plan of creating a tree house that they would build with some planks that John had found and had from work, and they would be building it with a bridge. And the site would be a place for the kids to play. The house was no more than 12 feet by 12 feet with a little porch around the side. So that home where the kids were to play has now been transformed into a bachelor pad for Jason. This is an interesting take. So the house was built in 2016 when there was quite a few younger kids in the Duggar house. At this point now, we only have Josie, who is 12. She would be the youngest. And then you have the rest that are teenagers. So the treehouse might not be a spot that a lot of the kids are playing at. Now, Jason taking this over as a house is interesting because the treehouse has absolutely no plumbing, kitchen, or bathroom. Inside, he has an office. He also debuted a bedroom in the loft with a bed. He had put up a hat rack. There was a small kitchenette that had a mini fridge and a water jug and a coffee maker. If Jason needs to use the restroom, he has to go inside to the Duggars' house to get cleaned up and to also use the restroom. If he wants to cook, he'll have to go hang out with mom and pops. So it's an odd choice if you're in the real world, but for the Duggars, where the boys don't like to move out until they're married, this might work as a place for him to have some privacy while also giving him some sense of having independence. Now, here's another interesting thing that I noticed. The Duggars are pretty big about having accountability partners, and one thing that the Duggars don't like is for anyone to be alone because being alone can make people do things alone to themselves. If you recall, Jed and Jeremiah moved out. And when they moved out, they made the decision to share a bedroom. They rented a 2-bedroom home, but they decided they were going to share a bedroom, and they had their twin beds like right next to each other as they debuted this on the series. People joked and laughed during that time because they felt like Jed and Jeremiah were forced to live in a room together because their parents needed them to have accountability partners of themselves, if you know what I'm saying. So Jason has been given the ability to have his own place now. In theory, it's not really his own place, but he has no accountability partner. Now, another thing I noticed is that there's not a lot of space for, really anything. So it's not like all of his clothes are there. It's also not like all of his belongings are there because it's a small 12 by 12 room. Now, for Jason, this might feel like a bit of independence, and for the Duggars, they're getting a little risky here by allowing him to live in his own treehouse without an accountability partner. A treehouse converted into a home. Interesting take. Now, people in his comments were asking a lot of questions, which I thought was interesting. And the comments were turned off at one point by Jason, which I also thought was weird. Like, why is he limiting comments? I don't know if he was getting tired of comments. The post says the pad. And in the comments, there is someone that said this: "Is it still on mom and dad's land? You're going to freeze in the winter though. Definitely going to need an upgrade on the winter wardrobe if this cute little cottage is more than a summer thing." And it's true, there's also no heating in this place. So unless he brings in like a heater, there's actually no heat inside, and it's certainly not insulated. And then someone said, "You can see the big house in the reflection." And then someone else said, "I think it's the tree house they built for the younger siblings long ago, not too long ago." Someone else said, "Where's the bathroom and kitchen?" And then someone said, there's room in that little thing for a kitchenette and a vanity closet. And then she shrugged her shoulders. Someone else said, "Wait, there is no bathroom or shower." And then someone else said, "Or kitchen." And then someone said, "Seriously, the treehouse people, come the frick on." And then his friend Elijah said, "Sweet place, bro. When moving into a treehouse is congratulatory." Someone else said, "Is that the treehouse? Do you walk to the big house to use the bathroom? We have questions." Finally, someone said, "Very nice. Most beautiful treehouse ever. Now add electricity and plumbing with hot water and turn it into a real apartment. You need a working kitchen and a 3/4 bathroom, sink, stall, shower, flush toilet. Then you'll be living on your own. A driving path from the entry road to the tree would also be sensible." This isn't the first time someone on the Duggar property has changed something into a home. Now, here's the issue. Jason's treehouse is not necessarily zoned as a home to live in. So technically, Jason's using a place that's not exactly has an occupancy. So it's not zoned to be lived in. Let's just say it's a utility building that's out on the property. It's not necessarily going to be meeting residential codes for living. So while it's neat that he lives there, there's obviously some issues that could come into play, like in an emergency exits, whether or not you can actually live in a treehouse, whether it's up to code to live in a treehouse. There is a lot of issues that can come into play here. And this is similar to what the Duggars did with their place that they turned into for Josh and Anna, where they live in the warehouse. Obviously, Josh and Anna don't live in the warehouse, but Anna lives in the warehouse now with the kids. But that place is also not zoned as living quarters. So the Duggars are purposing areas of their property for living that are not necessarily for living, which can ultimately become dangerous if things happen. Not only that, He doesn't have a bathroom. He doesn't have water. He doesn't have heat in there. So it's not really a new pad. Is it a place where he can go away and like sleep in? Sure. Is he going to be able to put an address on there as his own place? No. So he's basically living in a house that was built to be a playhouse for kids as his bachelor pad, when theoretically Jason has a full-time job as a builder. He owns his own business. He does a ton of work in building new homes. He also has flipped houses. He's working in an area in Bella Vista, Arkansas, where they are doing tons and tons and tons of construction. So why, if he has the money to live on his own, would he choose to live in a tiny treehouse that has no bathroom, no plumbing? It just doesn't make sense to me unless you're the Duggars and you are under your dad's control and you've been conditioned to believe that you can't move out and that you should save all of your money for other things. I mean, how many business owners do you know that have had the amount of success that Jason's had? Because think of it, Jason has built many homes. He's been very busy with his business. He is not doing like side jobs as a construction worker or as a builder. He's literally has a construction company. He has the ability to move out, but he's choosing to live in a treehouse. Isn't that odd to anyone? I mean, this is the first time a Duggar has lived by themselves, but they're not really living by themselves. They're living on the property of the Duggars in a treehouse that's not actually occupied. So it's not necessarily like zoned for this, but you know, I'm sure the Duggars don't really care because they live in the country, and I'm sure for him it's a big step. So lots of questions for Jason on, is this really your house? Is this really a thing? Are you really going to be doing this? Lots of questions on, where do you go to the bathroom? How do you take a shower? Where do you eat? My guess is he goes into the big house. My guess is that this is just a way for him to have a little bit of privacy now that he's 22 years old. Maybe he doesn't want to be around his siblings all the time. But my suggestion to Jason would be like, great first step. How about now you think about getting your own place? You could rent an apartment, you could rent a house, you could build yourself your own house. You certainly don't have to be relegated into a 12 by 12 tree house in order to have a sense of independence. Not all parents are like the Duggars, and most kids, once they reach a certain age and are working, don't live at home with their parents. And some do. I know that more and more as the age older kids live with their parents well into their 20s. No shame there, but this is the Duggars, and this is again a interesting choice, which begs the question. So Jason gets a treehouse and he gets to live outside the property, but Janice still has to share a bedroom with her siblings. Isn't that weird? Is it different rules for different genders? Yes it is. All right, you guys, tell me what your thoughts are about Jason's treehouse in the comments below. Bye, guys.